Apparel. We're a local swimwear and fitness brand, and we only sell on e-commerce. Mainly 90% of our sales are through Instagram. But in the future, I would like to touch on Amazon, more Facebook ads, and potentially Pinterest and Snapchat ads as well. And we've been in business for 2.5 years now, and we just got our first office like a month and a half ago, and hired our first full-time girl, and it was pretty exciting.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
My name is Olivia Canlas. I'm the co-founder of Meowbox. It's a monthly subscription box for cats. We've been around for about 5.5 years now, and we also just launched a cat festival called Meow Fest. It's our second year. We just did it in Toronto a couple weeks ago, and our first year was last year here in Vancouver. And we sell strictly online, subscription-based model. We have an online shop as well, but mostly on our e-commerce platform.
Sounds good. Okay, so starting off, back in the day when you guys first started, what was your initial customer acquisition strategy? So how did you get out there in the initial days?
So when I started 2.5 years ago, I was still in first year university, and I just kind of grinded every day on my Instagram, messaging people, scouting girls that would rep my brand really well locally, and I just did that every day, and I had about, I'd say, 200-300 ambassadors under VITAE Apparel within a year, and I just kind of started that, and I didn't spend any money on marketing, but just like mouth of word and seeing all these local girls wearing our bikinis, designs, and that kind of gave us a lot of exposure locally, and we generated sales that way. Also, a lot of influencers from LA reached out to us, and I feel like girls in the age group of 18 to 24 haven't really started charging for posts yet back in 2016. And we were able to work with a lot of influencers without paying them, so that also gave us a lot of exposure.
Yeah, we have a similar story as well. So back in 2014, when you launch your social media, that's free, so that doesn't cost you anything. So we went with that, and Instagram for us was really strong. I think we're lucky because our subject matter is cats, and cats on Instagram or anywhere on social media is just, it's something that happens naturally. So similar situation, we would reach out to influencers who had Instagram accounts, like famous cats or famous people who had cats, or large Instagram accounts that were about cats. One of them specifically is called Cats of Instagram, very appropriate. And the girl who owns that account, I think it was about 1 point something million at the time, or pretty close to it. She actually ended up living in Vancouver, so it was like, we clicked, about the same age, we both had cats, we both lived actually in the same building at one point, and so right away that was just like a relationship that we built. We still talk all the time now, and she helped me promote Meowbox with probably like one of our first like prototype boxes. Gave her free product, she promoted it, she liked me, she did it for free, and that was like the very first sort of big stepping stone for us to start getting out there. Like that's all we needed to get started was that one like good hit with like a good relationship with a big account.
Cool. So it sounds like you guys, do you guys need the mic?
Not really.
No, can you guys hear us? Okay. You guys okay
Yeah.
with the mic? Yeah. Okay. Because I'm passing back and forth. Yeah. Okay. So it sounds like you guys were doing using a lot of, working with a lot of influencers in the early days. Is that still true to today?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. So it sounds like you guys weren't paying the influencers in those early days. What's changed now? Is it are you paying per post? Is that something that that you need to do that you find in now, like this marketplace?
I feel like the influencer marketing is really saturated right now. Like a lot of times we get girls emails or DMs. We're like, hey, want to send me a free bikini? And I look at their profile and they have like 2,000 followers and like 100 likes. I'm like I feel like there's a lot of big influencers that set the example for the smaller micro influencers or just like your daily users on Instagram. It's this easy to make money, it's this easy to get paid by brands, that I find that it's a lot harder. We are definitely more selective on who we want to work with, and definitely using external tools like Hype Auditor or other platforms to see if their engagement is even real. You can buy Instagram likes, impressions, anything. Yeah.
For each of the influencers that we work with, we treat them like very individually. So there's not like a magical chart that we found online or that we've created for ourselves. And I've found that it really depends on what kind of relationship you have with that individual. And it sounds like a lot of work to have like an actual friendship and relationship with each of these influencers. Because like you said, there's dozens, hundreds of them just coming up to you asking you for free product. So you choose based on engagement, you choose based on what kind of audience. Like if, for example, like we have hundreds of partnerships with famous cats on Instagram. So they're like, you can only reach like so many, and they all have the very similar following. So like once you hit like 100 cats, you can reach 100, get 100 more, and the audience is the same. So we'll look for like a famous hockey player with a cat, or we'll look for like this is actually a real example, like a wrestling Instagram where the guy who does the Instagram has a cat. So for us, it's about like building that relationship with that influencer and then determining what kind of like fees there are. And we're lucky because we've made friends since the very beginning, and I always like harp on like having authentic relationships. And so now these influencers from 5 years ago, we've invited them to Meowfest, so our festival that we put on, and they don't charge us, they either charge us nothing or they charge us very little because we're friends. Like we are actually friends from 5 years ago, and now they just come to our event, you know, do meet and greets and all that kind of thing with our audience, and they charge us very little. So it's pretty involved, but it pays off in the end.
Sounds good. And so you mentioned a tool that you use to figure out if it's real like followers and all that stuff. Like
yeah,
what are some of those tools?
It's called hypeauditor.com, so hypeauditor.com. It's not 100% correct. Like I compared it with my own Instagram insights, but it's definitely 80% accurate, and that's better than nothing. And I definitely agree with her because we've set up a lot of relationships back when we started, and the influencers always work with us. Every time they go on trips, they ask us for like bikinis, and like no questions asked, send a bunch. So then we build that relationship. And a few weeks ago, we had an event. It was Faded in the Park, Younger Crowd Music Festival. All the influencers we invited like didn't ask us for payment because like we worked with them for a very, very long time, and they wanted to post and have fun like for free. So I think that's very important.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Sounds good. So it sounds like relationships with influencers, not just like you're not trying to like do a bunch of influencers, just give it out there. You guys seem to really build relationships with your influencers. Very key. Okay. All right. We want to move on here. Best performing campaigns over the years.
Sure.
You want to go first?
For us, we have found that our best performing campaigns are around holidays. And it might be very specific to our industry, but cat people want to take photos of their cats with like a little Christmas hat or like a little Valentine's like catnip heart or something like that. Like these are real things that I deal with on a daily basis. So when it's themed like that, especially to our Canadian market, because we sell to Canadian and American customers, especially our Canadians, they love holidays. So we go hard on those. We go heavy on all of our channels that we use to market to people, and we're not shy about it. So like what's coming up? Let's say one of our best boxes is Halloween. So we really make sure that Halloween, the contents of the Meowbox, so like the toys and treats are a really cute theme, really good quality, interesting products, market it on all of our channels, and then people take pictures. And then when they take pictures, they post them on social, and then their friends see it. And then because of our model being a subscription, they'll sign up for October because it's cute and it's Halloween, and then it automatically renews. So then once they're in, and then it's a whole other job keeping them for as long as you can. But yeah, so for us, it's focusing on holidays.
For us, I think, like besides when we do sales, like Black Friday, that very one specific one was when we first launched our fitness line in the past October. We've always been doing swimwear up till that point, And I remember I was prepping really hard for it, like 2-3 months in advance. I sent all the styles to all the brand reps and influencers we worked with in the past and say like, hey, like this is the posting requirements. Like you get this free product, I want you to post on our launch date, like October, whatever date. And all of them posted at the exact same time, linking their affiliate link or discount code. And because a lot of these influencers we've worked with for a long time, and I only spent 500 USD launching this on marketing, and our sales were like 8 to 9,000 that one day. So I think definitely utilizing that to launch a product is really important.
Very cool, very cool. Okay, next question that I have are, what channels are you guys utilizing now? And what are some of the things that you're doing to track the ROI on those efforts on things that are a little harder to track, like social media and those kind of channels? What are some of the ways that you're tracking the return on that?
Like I mentioned before, we use discount codes or swipe up link. So if you use BitLink and you can kind of see the amount of traffic you're increasing getting, like for example, Shopify tells you today you have like this many visitors, and also it tells you how many times this person's discount code have been used. And some other channels we use are YouTube, and we do a lot of try-on hauls on there because I feel like online shopping, you kind of need to see it on somebody physically, like trying on different styles, see like which suits your body type better, in our case swimwear. And the try-on hauls really help our audience gain that perspective on, oh, we have good quality product and it would look good even if I have a different body type than the model on the website, because every YouTuber we reach out to have a different body type. Yeah.
We use a lot of different channels. So we do organic Instagram and Facebook ads, Google search ads. We utilize our blog and pop-ups on that. Big one is we use our email list, so email marketing huge for us because we've accumulated a lot of emails over the years, and also from past subscribers, we keep all of that information. What else do we do? We work with influencers, and then we also partner up with a lot of cat-related brands as well, and sort of do like exchanges like that. In terms of tracking, there's like the classic analytics that you can look at, and you're right, it's always been tough to track like how successful you are on your social media in terms of converting people. We do like the codes and stuff like that, and your link in your bio and swipe up and all that. So I mean, it's tough, but like we know that we have a really big presence on social media, and even though we can't track it, it doesn't mean we're not going to keep going. So it's not blind, because our company has grown year over year. So we know something is working, and just because we can't put it on a spreadsheet and chart it exactly doesn't mean we're going to stop. But I mean, there's kind of just like a vibe where yeah, this feels right, this is good, we're growing, so we're going to sort of just keep watching what we're doing and keep doing what feels right.
Yeah, that sounds good. I mean, we're the same way. There's a lot of things that we do at Thinkific where it's really hard to track. Like, for example, conferences. We would go to a conference. It's like, there's no direct correlation to us attending a conference and then the return on that. Except for every time we do go to a conference and say we speak, that there's always a bit of a spike, right? It happens, more awareness, that sort of thing. So yeah, I mean, and then you just gotta keep doing it,
yeah.
Right? Yeah. Okay, I'd love for you guys to share the #1 growth hack that you have that anybody here can implement today, tomorrow.
My favorite one is giveaways. We do one like every week, and we try to do big ones with an influencer, with another brand, or giving away a lot of prizes within our own brand, or like with multiple brands together even. And we've been doing that for the past 2.5 years, and I think that was the biggest success. And 2 months ago we did a giveaway which was giving away free bikini, and they have to pay for shipping only, but there's an extra cost to it. Is we also donate $5 to the ocean cleanup every purchase we get, and that giveaway went crazy. We gained like 18,000 followers within 24 hours, and like 80% of them stayed. So I would definitely say giveaways it's like similar to the giveaway that Tom mentioned earlier about Amazon. It's just like you're gaining that information and you're keeping it, and it's up to you on how to convert that into sales later on. So, yeah.
That's good.
Okay, so a good one that we do is, or what you can do, is find out what your top 3 search terms are that people are looking up to find you. So like, for example, for us, it would be best cat subscription box, or Meowbox versus like a competitor, or cat subscription box, like something like that. So we know that those are the terms that people are looking for, and then they find us. So if you look up a term and you look it on Google, look at the top few organic results. So it would be like a blog post about somebody comparing Meowbox to a competitor, or like another blog post just sort of talking about it, and then reach out to those blogs, the people who write the blogs, and see if you could partner with them so that it was just organically benefit you, where people are looking up that term, they find these blogs, and then they read about you, and then you're linked in those blog posts. So that's something that we kind of just stumbled upon at the beginning. It just like made sense to us, and we keep doing it.
Fantastic. Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. Okay, so the last question that I have, before we get into some Q&A, is if you were to go back to day one, what would be, if you had zero budget, very little budget, what would be your customer acquisition strategy? What would you do first?
I wouldn't change what I do from day one, just because the brand reps that I recruited is like zero expense on my end. But definitely after we picked up a lot of traffic, made a lot of sales, we kind of like got into just kind of paying influencer without looking into if they're worth it, if they're within our niche, just kind of like throwing darts on the board and hope it hits. And then I would definitely go back and make sure that the influencers we wanted to work with are going to generate sales, give us followers, or at least like their audience aligned with us.
So when we started, like I had mentioned, we located that account, that Cat's Up Instagram account with 1 million or so followers. I mean, we still kind of behave like we have no budget for marketing, because we're still small, like smallish, and like why pay more when you don't have to, basically. So we would continue to work with micro influencers. So just like Selene said, you choose the right ones, work with them. It costs very little. Like a Meowbox to purchase retail is like $29. So we send them a box, and you just pick the right ones, and we still do it. We did it from the beginning, and I would continue to do so. Very effective, and it doesn't cost you a lot of money.
Awesome. I want to piggyback on that, and I think if we were to step back too, I started Thinkific 3 years ago. If I step back then, is also work with micro influencers and not try to go for the big influencers that are speaking on big stages, the small ones, because although they're small, they have a very targeted, laser focused audience that are very loyal to them for the most part. So yeah, I would definitely go with micro influencers too. Okay, well, thank you so much. We're going to open it up to Q&A if anyone has, yeah, go ahead.
I actually have 3 questions for each of them, so
okay.
I don't know if you want to answer them all. First one is, for your platforms, how did you decide to use your platform? Did you look at like a whole bunch, like PrestaShop and Magento and Shopify, and then choose one, or you just went with one for both of you? Second question.
Let's do that one first. Let's do that one first. Let's do that one. We're going to forget.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my co-founder, he is an amazing software engineer. So for us, he just built it. And that's not realistic for everyone to have someone who, like, he can do it from like front end, back end, everything. So ours is custom built. And it's a little bit unique for a subscription that's small, because you need it to be able to like renew. So that's not, so we couldn't just do like a Shopify. It's not a shop. It's like purchase, and then we have like a record, and it renews and bills you. There are platforms like specifically for a subscription that you can use, but they charge fees. And so for us, it was worth the time and effort to just make it ourselves, to not have to pay someone. Although there are a few different apps that don't work with our platform, because we would have to just customize that. So it's not necessarily a bad thing to work with something that's pre-made. But yeah, so for us, ours was custom built.
Well, when I started, I knew nothing about any platform. So then I was lucky enough, my boyfriend's friend was starting out as a coder, and then we decided to use WordPress, which is, I remember I paid $150 a year and like $15 for GoDaddy for your domain. And I just used that for a year and a half until I realized that I'm at that point where I need to switch to a more professional, easier to maintain website. And then last summer, I decided to switch it to Shopify in June. And I do not recommend starting with Shopify just because a lot of the apps and add-ons, it's like extra money. Like for example, all the apps on WordPress, it's free. But then on Shopify, right now our monthly bill is 155 USD, just like apps and the basic plan, like $29. But then there's other websites out there like Wix, Square. It really depends on what your business is. If you're just providing a service, you can use WordPress or Wix. Yeah.
For Meowfest, we put it on Square.
Yeah.
Like, it's a little bit tricky depending on what you want to do, but they have some really nice looking templates, and they make it pretty easy. Like compared to years ago when you had to just like start from nothing. Yeah.
So is it Square because you were in person and you wanted, like, you were selling things in person?
Squarespace.
Oh, Squarespace, okay.
Right, yeah. And we also do Square, like
yeah. Okay, sounds good.
Okay, second question. For your product lines, so for your cat box and for your swimwear, how did you source your suppliers? Did you go down to China or down to ASD in Las Vegas or locally here to meet manufacturers and do that sourcing, or you pretty much just found whatever you could locally and started that way?
For us at the beginning, we were totally lost. We had no idea. So you Google it, and there's trade shows. There's trade shows for everything. So there's numerous like pet trade shows. There's a huge one coming up in Las Vegas. There's a really big one that happens in Orlando, and so it's just like massive hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of booths of pet products. And that's what we did at the beginning. And we also work with like local artisans and handmakers too. We always include something like handmade, and we want to support small business. So we also like just look up small businesses in Canada and the US. And then after a while, our volume grew, so we were able to design and have our product made overseas, which you'll touch on. So we work with a company who helps us design out of Vancouver, and then they connect us with a company overseas who manufactures and then ships direct to our US and Canadian warehouses.
I went to school in China for 9 years, so I speak and write Chinese, so I think that's a huge advantage for me. I actually went on Google and I was like, okay, like Vancouver swimwear manufacturer, and I didn't find any, and even the ones I found, like we got samples from them, and it was not like even half the quality of the ones I got from China, just because they're so experienced. They've been doing this for like, I don't know, 50, 60 years, right? There's definitely a lot more other countries coming out, which is like Pakistan. They offer like lower MOQ. Right now the issue with China is they want you to order a lot, especially if you're designing your own product, which we are. But like same website, like Alibaba, we go on Alibaba.com, it's the international website, or you go on 1688.com, which is the Chinese version, and it's only Chinese on it. Those two are really, really good platforms, and there's other smaller ones called tradekey.com. And in the very beginning, we did the same thing as Tom did, hire somebody to go to the manufacturer and like make sure all the quality is good. And then we sent samples back and forth a few times to make sure the design and quality is up to our standard, and then we put in our first order. Yeah.
Okay, the third question. So I'm in a situation now where getting product is no problem because I've been doing trade with China for a while. I'm launching a skincare, health products, as well as some other stuff, right? But I'm always wondering, and I've asked Tom and other people about this, for you guys, do you think you guys could have started 2 companies? So one for dogs, one for cats, one for men, one for women, swimwear, at the same time, and still have gone into where you are? Or do you think you couldn't have done more than two, or more than one product or one type of brand at the same time? So we're talking concurrently instead of one after another.
I think like it might be a similar story for a lot of entrepreneurs, is like you're one person or two. So in order to do a good job, it might be spreading yourself too thin. You're spread too thin as it is. Like I remember when we started, it's like you just don't sleep, and there's like this list that's like literally endless. And there's like one or two of you just having to check everything off. And as you're checking things off your list, there's even more stuff that's like piling up. So I think if you're gonna do a good job, I mean, I can only speak from my experience, I think it was smart for us to focus on cat. And also there's a huge dog company that does, BarkBox, that does it. So we're like, nope, let them be experts in that, and we're gonna be experts in the cat field. And it worked for us.
Actually, I forgot to answer your previous question, which is what platform we chose to market on. We chose Instagram because our audience is 18 to 24, and that's where they are. Nobody goes on Facebook anymore for that demographic. That's why we chose Instagram, and now we're pushing into YouTube because that's where people go and watch like whatever vlogs, stuff like that. And then back to your question is, I would always focus on one brand. It's because, like, first, I don't think there's a market in men's swimwear online. Just because guys don't care, they go to Costco and buy like $20 for 2 swim trunks. That, and I also think that it's very important to build and establish a brand. That being said, like now we have an established customer base, and now we can slowly launch other products like fitness, which we know will fit into our existing demographic and customers. But that being said, if you're not doing private label, if you're selling on Amazon, then you can sell more products if you want to, right? Like it depends on which route you're going into.
Yeah, I agree with you. Once we built Meowbox and had a following with that, then we did Meow Fest.
Yeah.
And like there wouldn't have been time to do both, but now that sort of Meowbox is coming along, we're like, okay, let's build on that.
Yeah.
Good answer. Awesome.
Do you have any tips on finding influencers, specifically local influencers on Instagram?
I search, like, go on Instagram and go to like places and search Vancouver, BC. Or like be more specific, like downtown Vancouver, or if you're, let's say you're doing a backpack company, search up like Sea to Sky Gondola. That means that people are going hiking, and go on top posts and search like who has the best engagement, like what their profile looks like. But now Instagram's algorithm changed, so what happens is it's not the most likes you get, you go on top posts. It's your engagement ratio. But back when we started, it was whoever had the most likes popped up first on top posts. So now you gotta do a bit more digging. There's also third-party platforms out there for you to use. One is Hey Influencer, Aspire IQ, and there's a few other ones, but I believe you have to pay. And I personally don't like to use them just because there's like millions of users on Instagram, and there's only like maybe 100K influencers on that one platform. You can also, if you find one girl you really like, or a guy, you click on the arrow button next to their profile, and it shows a bunch of like similar accounts, and I just like scroll, I can go on for hours.
Yeah, similar. You just go down the rabbit hole. Just to, you know, find one account, look at who they're following. They're usually following other big accounts, and then it's exponential. So you find one, they have like 10 good accounts. Those 10 all have 10, and you can do it. And I did it for like hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. Yeah.
Awesome. I want to piggyback on that. What is your approach when you see somebody? Then what's your approach on like that first like reach out? What does the message kind of sound like?
I mean, we try to be real. Like I have a couple of girls who are on that. Like that's what part of their daily job is, to go on Instagram and like look up cats. So we'll send a DM typically, and it'll be like, hey, you're so cute, and like we have well, it's true, they are really cute. We have like a pool party themed box coming up, and we think you'd love it. Like, can we send you one and see what you think? And we leave it at that. We don't. I mean, it's just the personality of our brand. So we offer it. We say, would you like one? And we never say like, if you post, we'll give you this. And then like we don't. It's like when you meet a new person and you want to date them. You're not gonna be like, hey, you want to date me? you're gonna say like, hey, like, how's it going?
Yeah. First.
Yeah, like a lot of bigger influencers we reach out to, we do the same thing, but we do email because they have 500K and above and they don't read their DMs. So our email is like, hey, like we love your feed, blah, 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 this is what our brand's about. We love to like gift you like these items or like our new design, whatever, and hoping to hear your feedback. So not like something guaranteed like, oh, I need you to post this. Because you're not asking for a payment and we don't have the budget to pay someone with 1 million followers to post. So that's our approach. And a lot of them post for free. They like love the product and they tag you and they post. Or a lot of them reach out to us as well, seeing that their influencer friends posted.
Right.
I find that actually really effective. Cool. Yeah.
So you kind of touched on this already because you both seem to be pretty hands-on on the actual influencer contacting. But what do you think about, what are your thoughts on like influencer marketing agencies? You're basically hiring them as a small seller. If you're a one-man show in a team or something, would you use something like influencer marketing agency like Newsfind to kind of handle all that for you?
Okay, it's funny because I actually run another company that does that for other online brands. It's like, not a lot of people know, but like we help them reach out to influencers just because we have the experience and like they don't have time to do that. Like they have better things to do what they're better to do at. Like for example, Facebook ads, like we're not good at that. So we only focus on Instagram influencer marketing to help them reach out, get content, whatever you need. And I personally think that's really good because you like save a lot of time. You're not trying to figure out something like you don't know. Like for me, I like want to hire a Facebook agency because I don't have time to like learn. Yeah, that's what I do.
For us, I would say that there is a pet agency. I'm sure there's like more than one, but there's one that I know of, and I haven't even considered using them because for myself, just like me personally, I like doing it, and I'm always on Instagram anyways. And then the girls that I have working for me, they're the same. They like doing it. It's like part of their day, and it's just a lot more authentic when it's you. So as opposed to an agency. But on the other hand, if you don't have the time and you don't really like doing it, you do need to do influencer marketing. So then pay someone to do it. Yeah.
I just want to add on that too. So at Thinkific we work with influencers, but we've kept it in-house just because we're not in the business of just paying for posts. With the influencers that we work with, we're not just like, hey, here's a free account or here's some swag, go post. We'll typically do other things, co-marketing, we'll co-create content with them. If they're doing an event, then we'll sponsor that event, we'll fly down, we'll do those kind of things. So we're more relational in the way that we approach, but I've heard great things about agencies and things like that. So
Also, like, sorry.
go ahead.
Usually, like when an agency helps you to reach out to influencers, they're using your email. They're speaking as you. Like that's how we do it anyway. Like we literally have a girl dedicated to this, and she helps all the brands do it, and she like speaks as the brand. Like, hey, I work for example, Kia Babies. And this is like our brand, this is what we offer, this is what we want. Like we speak as them versus like trying to speak from a third party perspective. Yeah.
I was in the washroom before you came on. I'm just gonna assume that Meowbox is like a monthly subscription.
Yeah.
So what are some of the tactics you've used to increase your customer lifetime value? Like would it be just more touch points or
Like reduce our churn.
yeah.
That's a tough one. We're still trying to figure that out. We're trying a little bit of everything. So from things like writing handwritten thank you notes to customers who've stuck around for like 3 months. We're trying that, or we're currently observing that. I mean, it's all about like giving a customer like an amazing experience from beginning and throughout. You just have to keep, it's again back to like relationships. You have to be giving them like free like content or like tips or featuring, creating like a little community or a big community. So like our online community is really big and really involved, sharing photos, and we reshare them, or like giving perks to people who have stuck around, that kind of thing. But churn is like the bane of our existence. It's like if we kept every customer who we've had from the beginning, I would own half of downtown Vancouver. Because people, with our subscription model, people come and go. So the name of the game isn't necessarily just acquiring the customers, it's keeping them. So that's a continual challenge. So we try to just, like I said, give a really good experience throughout, keep on talking to them, sending them fun, non-marketing emails, thanking them, acknowledging loyal customers, that kind of thing.
You guys have a Facebook group?
Facebook group, no.
It's it's really effective to build that community based on what you said.
Yeah.
I have some friends in the e-com space that have done extremely well with just Facebook groups, people posting pictures of their cats and
that's good actually. People want any excuse to share a photo of their cat and talk about it.
And they post it in a group where they know that people like
Awesome. Noted.
In the very beginning, how did you decide on the products that you want to sell and the quantities? Because you said you didn't have that much budget, so what was your first decision?
Well, I swam my whole life, so that kind of just came to sense. Started designing because I didn't like anything on the market, and I saw that there's a gap between fashion and active swimwear, and I kind of combined them both. So I did that, and in terms of quantity, you really have to go out and look for manufacturers that offers you low MOQ, because I think that's super important for anyone starting a business, just to be able to test out the product. And another thing you can also do is just to see what's available on the market right now and change a little bit of it. Just one little thing, change it, and then make your product special than what's on the market already. That's another way to go. Yeah.
When we started, I don't know if it's just individual to cat toy market, but we could purchase in smaller quantities. I think we went out trying to get stuff for free. That did not work. So we told our story and hoped that people would empathize and give us good prices for lower quantities. I think our first shipment that we sent out was 40 boxes, and half of those were giveaways. So we weren't discouraged. We knew we were starting from the beginning. But we had our stuff made for us in a small batch. And when you start with nothing, you have to be really wise about that. But luckily for a subscription model, people would subscribe and sign up before they get the product, before we even had a product. So people were subscribing to something that didn't exist yet. So they gave us our investment, and then we took that money and purchased product. And then that's kind of what we've been doing this whole time, is just people subscribe, we take the money. It's a little different now, because we've been around for longer, but at the beginning, they subscribe, and then we have X number of days or a couple of weeks to get everything together, and then it just kept going, kept rolling and growing and growing.
That's awesome. So you're validating the idea, the product, before you invest.
Yeah.
Awesome. We'll take one more, and I think we need to kind of wrap it up. One more question? No. Okay, so I guess that's it. Okay, perfect. Well, thank you. Where can people connect with you? Your website, but also just connect with you guys.
We're at Meowbox on every platform, and then if you want to get hold of me, it's Olivia at meowbox.com, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, and it's Dior at VITAE.
Perfect, perfect. Okay, awesome. Well, thanks so much.